Hi everyone, it's Derek from the iReady podcast here, and this is my reaction to the 2-1 loss against Celtic in the Premiership today. As much as we don't want to admit it, that's it for me. The league is over. There is absolutely no way we are clawing back 6 points, or really 7 points if you include the goal difference. Celtic will probably drop points in the remaining games, but the story of our season, we never capitalised on it, and today was no exception there. I'm not going to talk too much about the game. It's really self-explanatory. We weren't good enough. We had a lot of possession at times. We never put their keeper under really any serious pressure. McGregor had to make a couple of fantastic saves, one of them in the second half. Celtic's only really chance in the second half as well. It was an outstanding save, and Celtic were really average today. If you find an honest Celtic fan, and I know that's maybe hard to come by sometimes, but if you find an honest Celtic fan, they are bound to admit Celtic were average. We were just less than average, and that is the galling thing about it. Celtic didn't need to play any better, because we were so poor. We had a lot of possession at times, as I said, but once again we were not putting the keeper under any pressure whatsoever. The team we lined up: McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Bassey, Lundstrom, Jack, Ramsey, Aribo, Kent and Roof is pretty much a team that we would all started with, maybe a couple of exceptions. Aribo's not kicked a ball since coming back from AFCON, so maybe not him. Roof, really the only option up front. He never had the best of games, but again, he wasn't really getting a lot of service. The back line kind of writes itself there. Maybe Helander could have came in, but again, he's still potentially injured, I don't know. Lundstrom and Ramsey were fantastic today. They were definitely the standout players for us. Ramsey obviously came off late on. Questions about that decision. At that point, we weren't going to score, so you need to try something. Maybe somebody else could have came off, I don't know. That one's on the management there, but the team itself we lined up with, I don't think many people could have many complaints about it. Today was on the players. We started off the first 5 minutes brilliantly. We scored the goal. It was a fantastic goal from Ramsey as well. Outstanding play with Bassey slipping a stunning ball down the left to Kent. Kent crosses in on the deck and Ramsey shooting into the back of the net. We had another good 3 chances after that. Good crosses into the box. Just unfortunately couldn't find their men. And then Celtic score. Just a calamitous defensive display again in the 6th minute, and they made it 1 each. It was their first attack as well. We couldn't get the ball away. Bassey loses out on the right and allows the man to get goal side of them. That's criminal. That's defending 101 there. You stop the cross at source, and then there's no issues for the defence there. But it was a bit of pinball in there, and the ball was eventually hitting at the back of the net. McGregor maybe could have done a wee bit better there, but this is a collective defensive job, that one there. That's shambolic all round. Not the first time this season, won't be the last, and that's been a letdown this season. We all kind of thought at the start of the season, or certainly into the first couple of games, whoever wins the league will be whoever has the least worst defence. Now, Celtic have had a few defensive blunders, but I think they're the best defensive record in the league. We have been a shambles in defence this year. Our attack has not been on form. We've been relying on Alfie far too much, compared with last season, where we were scoring for fun in every single position. We've relied on Alfie far too much. Today was not down to the fact that he was missing today. It was down to a collective failure of not playing well enough. Really simple as. A few questionable refereeing decisions were letting especially Starfield away with murder. A lot of the time there's a few Celtic players that should have had yellow cards. Not the reason why we lost today, certainly not, but questionable display anyway. And then Celtic in the 42nd minute scored their second goal, another defensive blunder. It was all stemmed from a free kick given away by Lundstrom. I'm not sure if it really was a free kick. It was certainly a hard challenge where he got the player, but he got certainly a lot of the ball. No consistency in these rules, and he was the one to get the first yellow card of the game. Bit baffling that, considering what went beforehand, but that's Scottish referees for you. But again, the free kick itself wasn't the reason why we lost the goal. The free kick was floated high into our back post from the left. It was knocked away by the header defender, right to a Celtic player in the box, bit of pinball, played right to another Celtic player who shoots into the back of net. Again, McGregor might have done a wee bit better there. People were going to slam McGregor for the goals. He wasn't really the only one to blame for me, considering he saved us 3 other times in the first half as well, where he had to dive out at the feet and make crucial saves. Yeah, we can all question his performances this year. However, today was not really just on him. So into half time, we needed a lot more from the players, because we were fantastic in the first 5 minutes, and then as soon as Celtic scored, we were shambolic. Into the second half, no initial changes. We did play slightly better. We had a lot more of the possession, but again, not putting their keeper under any pressure whatsoever. It was all powder puff stuff when it was on target. Really poor once again. Celtic, It wasn't like the first game where they were 3-0 up and they didn't really have to play. They were still in a fight at this point. It was quite clear that their legs had gone, and once again, round about the 50th, 60th minute, it was all us. We were getting a lot of possession. Celtic were trying to get the ball and make quick breaks. They were very leggy, making really rash challenges. They racked up a good yellow card record as well. And we just never capitalised on that. They started to pack their box. We never done anything up front. Powder puff shots. And it was actually Celtic who had the best chance of the whole second half late on when McGregor had to pull out another fantastic save. I'm not going to speak too much more about the game because it was just pretty much a shambles. A lot of players in that team are either going into their last year, their contract next year, or their deals are up. A fair number of them are not going to get another deal, and I think they should be offloaded because that is not good enough by any standards whatsoever. McGregor, fantastic servant. His time's up now. Tavernier, what can I say about Tavernier? Because, you know, you're going to get criticism if you actually say anything against him. Undoubtedly, on his day, he is absolutely deadly. But days like this, when he's just putting hit and hope crosses in, shocking. Goldson, his deal's up. Let him go. I'm fed up with him now. There was a point when in the second half he gave the ball. He literally passed to a Celtic player, not looking around the field at all. I don't know if it was a miss kick or what, but it was shambolic. Nearly cost us a goal, and that actually was what the fantastic McGregor save came from as well in the second half. Balogun, decent enough. Bassey, you know, still learning. He made a couple of mistakes, obviously, but he's certainly a decent enough player. Lundstram was fantastic today. Got the man of the match for a justifiable reason. Jack, you know, is normally a great player. Disappointing today. Wasn't the worst. Ramsey was great up until he came off. Was looking a bit leggy, mind you. Aribo, as I said, never kicked a ball since AFCON. Kent, I'm fed up with him as well. He tries. He does a lot. When he's on his game, he's brilliant, but that's few and far between now. Everybody knows how to combat him. Roof, never had the service today. Always think he's a better player when he comes off the bench, but we had no option today. There's a few players there that really need to wake up. The management certainly don't escape any blame as well. I'm not having this rubbish that, that's Gio, he needs to be out the door now. I'm not having that at all. However, he's got to carry the can for some of his decisions, especially when it comes to team selections, as I've just outlined with some of the players there. Substitutions as well. There's games we've clearly highlighted where he's left it too late. There should have been substitutions at half time because it was clear what was happening in this game. A lot of people are going to criticise him for taking off Ramsey and Jack today. Two players that have had their injury issues, absolutely. But as I said before, it's a case of we weren't getting anywhere with them on the park. Let's try and change it up. It could have been a number of players today that came off. So one thing I would say though is if a set of players can fuck up the exact same ways under two different managers this season, maybe it's not the manager that's to blame. Maybe it's the players. I think people sometimes need to realise that. However, that said, we've got to pick ourselves back up and we are playing on Thursday night against Braga. That's away at 8 o'clock in the Europa League quarter-final first leg. We normally play better in the Europa League. Let's hope that we don't get another repeat performance of today. Simple as. We need a gargantuan effort to get anywhere further in this competition now. I don't have any trust in these players now because it's so Jekyll and Hyde with them. They play fantastically against the European teams and just seem to think that they can turn up against the Premiership teams, including Celtic. Anyway, obviously Dave's away enjoying his holidays. Well, I don't know if he's enjoying his holidays today, so we won't be back with a main podcast for a while, but I'll be certainly back with a post-match after the Braga game. But anyway, thanks Rangers for messing up our weekend once again. Thanks for listening and goodbye.